Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. First, off the bat, thank you for joining us for this month's edition of Power Hug, the Power Healthcare User Group, a community by the people, for the people, all about Power Platform. Um, we do have some programming to frame up today and a few things to get into. But first, we wanted to just, explain what this is all about. If you're a first timer, if you haven't ever been a part of the Power Hug broadcasts in the past, just wanted to spell out, what we're all about. I mentioned by the people, for the people. Hey, we have a number of Microsoft first-party employees in the HLS, healthcare and life sciences, OU, who work with really amazing customers and work on a number of solutions that span a broad spectrum of capabilities, use cases, workloads. And we're here to geek out on all of it. We're here to zoom in on the successes, zoom in on the techie, zoom in on the goodness, and celebrate each other's success. So it is a community for not just makers and people at Microsoft, but administrators and developers. And it's really intended to be a stitching together of people who are working in this technology, care about this technology, want our colleagues and organizations to drive innovation with this technology, and then to zoom in on that, spotlight that, celebrate that success. So you'll see governance, security. Today we're talking about some adoption and excellence across an organization and scale factors, and it will cross a number of T's. But it's all about learning and learning together in a positive environment. So that's why we're here. That's what we're all about. And if you enjoy today and you learn something, you spin around and learn something in our session today, come out next month, come out the month after, bring a friend. So this is about learning, it's about energy, and we got a lot of good stuff on deck here for today. Before getting into some of that, we did want to call out a couple of events that are upcoming. So at the end of July, I mentioned that this is a monthly cadence. We have our next Power Hug event, which is release management. So we have change approvals in minutes, not days, with CVS Digital. So we have Dwight and Christopher coming out to talk about that from the CVS team. And then get it on your calendars, start planning for it. The Power Platform Community Conference is coming up faster than you think. I mean, July is in days, folks. So we're really trudging through it. But plan for the end of October, the community conference, always a great time. A lot of big announcements, a lot of brushing shoulders with people from leadership at Microsoft, premier partners, folks like Ashley and Anna, who we have in the line here, all learning, all really geeking out on Power. So that's coming up in October. And then we have, and I should say, at the Power Platform Community Conference, HLS we will have a roundtable. So if you're looking for like-minded industry folks, if you're looking for some conversation or some deeper dives on healthcare specific payers, providers, life sciences, pharma solutions around the HLS bases, so to speak, be sure to attend or to get plugged in, hang out at the round table. We'd be more than happy to have you. We'd love to see you out there. And then the last event here, hey, Ignite's already on the books too. So we just rolled off of the exciting build announcements that we had, 3 weeks ago now? And we're all still catching up, but get ready. November will bring Ignite, and with Ignite comes a lot more goodies and a lot more to take a look at and get our hands around. But I am the boring one, and I am not the star of the show today. So without further ado, you'll see a couple of folks on the line with me. We've got Anna Hlavacova and Ashley Rogers from Takeda. So today is really I've a couple of times mentioned celebrating success. This is about celebrating Takeda's success, but learning how that transpired and what their approach was and what their innovation looked like as the Power Platform grew and as more makers started innovating at scale. So as we're going through the content, please utilize the chat or the Q&A so we can address those live. Do know that today's session is being recorded and it will be posted publicly. So we have a YouTube channel. We have a few channels that we operate through predominantly, but we have our recordings and our kind of portfolio in our book of prior sessions that are living on YouTube. So be sure to check that out. And I've heard through the grapevine that Takeda will in fact be at the Power Platform Conference. not to spoil anything, but a little carrot to dangle there, a little teaser of some of the HLS low code power platform rock stars and celebrities that we might be able to see amongst the crowd and brush those shoulders or elbows with. So yeah, we'll get into, I think, proper introductions right now. So, Anna, can we start with you? Do we want to talk a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yes, thank you. And thank you for having us here. And we are really excited to be here and share this journey with you. So as you mentioned, I'm Anna, and I'm the program lead for the citizen development at Takeda, in Ashley's team, actually, apps and automation team. My journey started many years ago as a RPA developer, going through different tools and so on. And in each company I was before, I was involved in citizen development and building the program and so on. So I'm really, this is really close to my heart, like close to my journey. So I'm really happy to be working in that program in Takeda. So yeah, I would then tell you more about it. And yeah, Ashley.
Sure. Thank you, Anna, and thank you, Adam. Thank you, everyone, for having us today. Super excited to share this part of our journey with you today. So I'm Ashley Rogers. I'm the head of the Apps and Automation Platform at Takeda. So this includes all things Power Platform, but also things like custom M365 applications. We're doing a lot with Teams. We're still doing a lot with SharePoint, and even some generative AI experiences. So it's been really fun to see how this business enablement program, the citizen development program, has come together and really come to life. And looking forward to seeing how we're going to bring that to the rest of the tools that we have at Takeda. So I've been at Takeda for about 5 years, started with Power Platform and then SharePoint applications in 2020. And man, I'm just so proud to see how the program has grown. So thanks again.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I think, you've got some prepared materials to step through today. We got a little preview of this, in this last week, and I am certainly not going to spoil anything for the crowd, but just seeing the broad strokes and some of the details that are included in how you built this, it's impressive. It's a template for success, and would love to give you the reins if you want to launch us into that journey from inception all the way through what you're doing today and some of the current state.
Perfect. So let me just pull out the presentation, and I think we can get started. Good. So yeah, so the citizen development program is the topic that we will be talking about today with you. And just to give you the sort of agenda or what are the points we want to share with you. So we'll go from the program description and journey that Ashley will speak more about that. Then we would like to share with you some program highlights from trainings to events and so on. And at the end, we would like to share with you our current focus and where we want to be. So with that, I think we can start with the program description and program journey. And Ashley, the stage is yours.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much. So this journey is honestly such a special one, right? And if we're really focusing on business enablement, citizen development, the way that I see the Power Platform, those concepts of citizen development and making sure people have what they need, the right tools for the job, that's at the heart of the platform. And it's really what energizes not only our technical team, but also all of our customers at Takeda, of which I consider all of our users to be our customers. So we'll talk a little bit about the journey and how we got here and some of the highlights that are part of that journey. So the migrations that we've done, as well as what does it mean today and how are we going forward. So as I had said before, I've been with Takeda for about 5 years, started in 2020. And what's really interesting is our journey to citizen development started with 2 different platforms. So I came to Takeda to start the Power Platform service line. We started with just 3 people. It was myself and a couple of contractors, and we have grown so big since then. But when we first started out, right, it was really trying to show the value of the platform. And we were really going through the years looking at this and saying, okay, let's serve the business. Let's make sure that they have what they need. But we didn't have the citizen development program the way that we do today. We knew it was important, right? But we didn't quite have the resourcing and quite have the reach that we'd like to in those early days. At the same time, in parallel, the UiPath RPA service line was established, same exact year. And this was a service line that was really looking to do very similar things, right? Empower the users, make sure that they had the right tool set, bring automation to Takeda. But we were doing two different things really, really well. On the one side, right, Empower Platform, we were bringing those business applications to our customers. People were coming to the team and saying, can you build this for us? We say, sure, we can do that. But we weren't really educating them on how to do it themselves. And in the UiPath service line, what they were doing super, super well was they had a whole business enablement program that was being run internally at Takeda. So there was trainings, there was outreach, there was gamification, badges, right? All this good stuff that really says, okay, I'm going to empower these people to not only have a license and play around with it, but actually change the way they're doing automation. And so after a few years of working together, both of these service lines, looking at each other and saying, what do you do well? What do you do well? And how do we make patterns that bring us together? We actually merged in the middle of 2023. So I was lucky enough that the UiPath service line came to my team, and I was introduced to wonderful people like Anna, who had been here for a long time as well. And we took a look and said, what can we take from both programs to make this the most efficient, most powerful, low-code tool set that we can have at Takeda and really serve our customers? So this is when we really took the best of both worlds, and over the time, took a look and said, I think we need to migrate to Power Platform, migrate the RPA solutions over to Power Platform, create some efficiencies, create a standardization about the platform toolkit, but also keep what was best about the UiPath service line, what that group itself at Takeda had done. And so we brought in the business enablement team and really started to strengthen that, make sure it was truly internal to us. We were starting to bring all the different types of events to folks over 2024. And throughout 2024, business enablement has been a huge part of the migration to the Power Platform. So not only bringing in the tech, but also educating people through the migration. So these events, the trainings, these were super important when it comes to making sure that people were comfortable with how we were going to change things, how we're going to do things. Throughout the migration, we also had a great opportunity to really strengthen the governance in the platform as well. So we know that makers need a great space to play and a safe way to do it, a clear way to understand how environments work, what their roles and responsibilities are as makers. And so through that migration and through the business enablement program, we strengthened our governance, we created support office hours. We now have a nice big intake app, a nice clear process that people can follow. And we're looking towards the future to say, what else do we bring and how do we make sure that we're engaging in fun, different ways, as well as expanding the program to other areas of automation? I think we can go forward, Anna. So I will just talk briefly about what this actually looked like, and we'll take a business enablement sort of filter on these things, but again, that sort of blend of how we're bringing in the UiPath business enablement team and looking into the migration itself, right? We had a couple of different places that we had to focus. Number one, we had to do an initial assessment where we're actually looking at, as I said before, what are the best parts of each of the platform. We also had to assess how we were going to do a migration and how we were going to engage with the business as part of citizen development. Then we had to focus on training. And this is not just training of our makers, right? It's not just training of the business users who need to learn a new platform, but it's also training the internal team themselves. And so there's a huge thank you to the group who had previously done development inside of UiPath to then they trained themselves, right? At the end of the day, the business enablement team brought forth, found the training that was available online, created their own, created it in partnership with Microsoft, and allowed our developers to actually train themselves while starting to plan for a migration. And this meant that we had a really nice foundation for our citizen developers. They had people that they could reliably come to and ask good questions of and feel enabled and supported. We had a lot of planning to do. We still do a lot of monitoring about the success of this program. And we do this in a few different ways. We make sure that we're getting consistent feedback, not only from our product owners who we build things for, but also through these champion networks that we have at Takeda. Folks who come to us and say, hey, this is how we're doing low-code automation in the R&D space, for instance, right? Here's some things that you can learn from us. Here's some things we want to take from the platform. So this planning and monitoring around how the program is going is really a give and take with our customers. And I would say one of the most important things to do if you're looking to create a citizen development program is making sure that you can scale. Because one of the things we know we can't do is we can't reach everyone at Takeda on our own. So we've created these federated teams who've run with these concepts, taken our training and then created their own as well, created their own relationships with our Microsoft partners in order to really scale and bring the best of both worlds to their customers too. Finally, support is the big one, right? So we can do all these federated teams. We can make sure our migrations go well. We can make sure our trainings go well. But at the end of the day, follow through is incredibly important. So being able to pick up the phone, submit a ticket, and know, hey, I'm going to get a response very quickly. I know who I'm going to talk to, and I know that I'm going to get an answer. This is incredibly important because I think if we don't have that follow through, then people will lose that trust, right? So we want to make sure they're trusting not only the platform, but also the platform team. We can move on, Anna.
Thank you. So I would like to now talk about a bit more into details about the program highlights, right? So Ashley was mentioning our journey, our migration journey as well. And she mentioned trainings. And I would like to just elaborate a bit on that and talk about how we set them up and so on. So first of all, we were in a situation where we were supporting people who had to migrate their solutions from UiPath to our platform, right? So we did instructor-led trainings, which we prepared. Regarding Power Automate and Power Automate for Desktop, that were the first ones we did to make sure that we are supporting those who are migrating their solutions. Now, also, we are closely cooperating with Microsoft, who lead the advanced training, so a bit more advanced topics. So every month we have a different topic that is being trained by our Microsoft colleagues, right? So we also establish in our LMS self-paced learning journey, where people can go through on their own pace through the beginner, intermediate, and advanced trainings, which we actually used from the MS Learn portal. And then while we've been doing these kind of trainings, the instructor-led internal with Microsoft and also the self-paced, we sort of evaluated into different events. And during the year, we've been doing many awareness sessions across our organization in different business units to spread the awareness of what the tools, what the platform is capable of. Sort of spread the awareness, also bring people to us for the trainings and so on. So I would like to talk about a bit more about the Power Up hackathons. That's how we call them. This is basically the structure of the hackathon, how we prepared it. So this structure we use whenever somebody approached us that they actually would like to have a hackathon, right? So we always adapt the structure according to several factors. One of the factors is the audience, the level of technical knowledge of the audience, whether they have been previously using different tools, technology tools, for example, UiPath, or they are already makers, they already build solutions, apps, or Automate or Cloud flows, desktop flows. So we always evaluate and see how we can adapt this structure. But usually we kick off with the awareness session, right? So for beginners, we always do a high-level overview of the Power Automate cloud and desktop. And we also show them some use cases so they can start thinking about their own solutions. So next event, which is very important, is the ideation session. So we are trying to help the attendees who registered for our hackathon journey to brainstorm, to identify potential automation use cases and opportunities. So this is something that is really important. We don't really look at it from the technology perspective, like which tool they would be using. We look at it from the project's perspective, and then we adapt what tools are from the Power Platform tool build are needed, right? So on the ideation session, every attendee or a group of people come up with their automation ideas that they would like to actually develop during the hackathon itself. So after the ideation, we have trainings, we provide training. So when people are registering to our hackathon, they usually state if they need training, and if yes, what kind of training they would like, a self-paced or instructor-led training, or also they specify whether they need training in Power Apps, for example, in the cloud flows or desktop flows, etc. So once people are trained, we go to the hackathon, and we had also the hackathons online and or on site. So we were able to actually compare and have the opportunity to try both different sessions. So on the hackathon, we help the people develop their own solutions. So we are the technical support. People are the attendees are trying to build their solutions with our support. After the hackathon, they present their use cases, the showcases, and if needed, they can of course reach out to us to follow up. But it's really important that they share what they have actually built. They can invite to the presentation their colleagues, their managers, anybody, so that they can share their success, what they have achieved in that hackathon. So usually, as I mentioned, this is the course structure, and we always adapt the length of all the different sessions or events within the hackathon according to the audience, the place, whether it's online or offline. On this slide, there are a few of the hackathons or examples of the hackathons that we had. So Rome and the Rieti hackathons happened on site in Italy. And you can see that we have different number of attendees, different number of automation ideas and projects completed, also with the benefits stated. So it's approximate estimation of the hours saved per year. And also one of the projects, I think, in Rome had also financial impact, right? So it might not seem big, but let's keep in mind that all the people in the Rome and Rieti hackathon actually have been beginners. And I think it was a huge success because they were able to actually complete the projects and are using them, right? So I was really excited to see it, and they went really through the whole journey from training, ideating the ideas, and then we went there and just helped them build the solutions. The US hackathon that we had was an online one, and we did it with the cooperation with our Microsoft colleagues. We had about 28 attendees, 20 automation ideas, 16 projects have been completed, and know that 4 projects are still in progress. And most of those projects, or 6 of those projects actually, can be scaled or reused for other processes or in other teams, which is pretty amazing. And as we know, we try to gather always the feedback from the people, what kind of different benefits it can bring, because quantitative benefits are obviously great, right? But also we are trying to encourage people to think about the qualitative benefits, right? So how can we measure that, or how can we actually make sure that that it is reflected, right? So you can also see that these are some of the benefits that people came up with, that those are the qualitative benefits that those automations bring to them or their teams. With that, I wanted to actually share with you one use case that was developed on one of the hackathons. It was developed on the US online hackathon. And we did that hackathon in a competition style. So we had judges, judging criteria, and during the showcases, the judges from our company, Ashley was one of the judges actually. So they chose 3 winners. So there was the judging criteria were looking at the problem statement, right? So what is the impact to the business, the technological solution, of course, and then whether the product was completed or not, right? So according to this criteria, actually, this was the winner of the US hackathon. And the process is about deviations. And the deviation data should be really trended by theme or a problem type. And basically the investigation cycle that was originally actually coordinated via email and ad hoc communication methods was replaced by this automation. So also the updates regarding the deviation closures have been communicated informally, right? Nothing was basically centralized. And the challenges were that the classification was tedious, obviously highly manual and repetitive. There was no system that was used across the teams for collaboration, right? To serve such as reliable repository. And basically, they needed to really provide consistent updates on the investigation status for the deviations, right? So what the person did is actually created Power App as the overall application, sitting on Power Automate Cloud Flows, getting data from the Databricks, right? So actually, the data got from the Databricks, where Power Automate actually then creates the records, right? And in Dataverse. And from Dataverse, of course, we have the Power App on top. And people can manually work with the Power App, put their new information regarding the deviations, upload documents, and so on. So this is really something that was quite incredible when we saw it, that what the person did. Obviously, it was a bit more in an intermediate level, but it was really amazing to see how he came up with the idea, how he was thinking about bringing it to life, and then he just came up with all of this architecture. So that was one of the use cases that we had. And this is these are the benefits and the impact that this solution has brought to the person's team. So when we look at all the numbers, so approximately we have 1,350 hours saved per year. So that's a quite incredible number. But also the impact overview, right? So the enhanced experience for all of the users that are actually working with deviation. They can just go to the Power App, upload what they need, and so on, right? There was improved cycle time. The data are available, right? So everything was really in one place. And that's really great. And so I think that this is one of the examples where we think about like, okay, like this is incredible, right? So having the trainings, having the hackathons and so on, then you see somebody comes with this idea and is really excited about the technology. It's something that just we live for, right? So I just wanted to share with you this exact use case. And with that, I wanted to talk about our community. So Ashley touched upon the fact that we have federated teams across our different business units. So we have people in R&D, in Takeda Business Solutions, and so on. So when the migration has happened, we really closely cooperated with one of the largest federated teams in Takeda Business Solutions, and they have around 80 citizen developers that are actually actively building solutions. So how it works in their business unit is that they dedicate 20% of their time to build automations. And so their manager has to support this, right? And there is huge support from the management to really explore the technologies and digital transformation. So it works perfectly. And we have built the ideas registry tool, which they use for managing their pipeline. And the 80 citizen developers within that business unit just pull ideas from there and work on them. So this is really incredible to see how that community got together. They call themselves actually Power Rangers, which is quite catchy. And I think it's just amazing, like how these events bring people together, right? So this is just an example of some of the federated teams that we have in communities across Takeda. So we, of course, Ashley mentioned, we provide technical office hours. We have community calls, just sharing the knowledge whenever somebody needs our support. And I want to also mention that at Takeda, we have a global learning program called Digital Dexterity that is focused on 4 skills. And one of the skills that is supported is the automation of work, right? So there is, again, a self-paced learning journey created in our LMS system. And we have also immersive experience game actually created for that called Power Automate Quest. So people can really play the game, let's say, and just learn the technology as they go. So it is really thematic for our company. It's a Japanese sushi restaurant, and it's you have to fix few things or restock your supplies and so on. So it's really, really nice to just learn it in a different way, right? Not the usual. So this is something I wanted to mention from our communities. And some other activities, I touched upon them also, Ashley. So as we work in a regulated environment, we have strong governance in place that these developers are following. I mentioned we have created our Power Platform request application that actually works as an idea registry. And we also have our own Power Platform hub site where we have all the information regarding training, regarding governance, we share their success stories and so on. So with that, I would like to maybe recap and mention what is our current focus, right? So from the events perspective, we want to continue with the events that we are already doing, but also do it in a way that we have recurrent cadence of those events, so we actually create a brand out of it and people know when it is happening, right? Also, from the community building, right? We want to expand a bit more to create the trainer program. In some of the business units, they already have their communities. In some, it's not at that level yet. So we want to actually enable the business to lead their own communities, right? Through the trainer program, buddy system, gamification, and different types of events. And the program scope, I think, Ashley, you can talk about this one. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Anna. And really, just to wrap up, right, the lessons that we've learned through having this business enablement program, through working with all of our citizen developers, it's clear that there's a need for very much the same thing to expand to different service lines. So This is honestly a group that is teaching in global learning, right? That digital dexterity program that we saw is from our global learning group through our HR team. And so we're teaching them what lessons we have learned and then taking the feedback back as well. And one of the places where we're expanding, of course, is our agents service line. So we're seeing now with all of the changes, especially announcements that have come up at Build, some of the way that we're seeing the trends in the platform. Power Platform is really starting to be the underpinning of a lot of different capabilities, right? And so even as we start to expand into custom areas and things, Power Platform, connectors, agents, cloud flows, it's all really at the heart of what we're doing as a strategy. And so we do see this need to bring the business enablement, the citizen development, bring that life into those different areas. So as I said, one of those areas is agents. And so we're taking a big look at Copilot Studio as well as SharePoint agents and how can we create similar content and get everybody fired up about those as well. Thank you.
Awesome, 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 awesome. Thank you. I have some notes. I have some questions. You know, right off the bat, and I'll start with the audience here. Jay, in the audience, zoomed in a little bit on the the benefits and impact slide that you had, which I love. I love that breakout, by the way. Just like the very visual kind of the star, you know, like the scoring, and this one here, it's, you know, you get that quick summary like visualized, you get the key benefits, lessons learned, conclusions. I think this is a fantastic template to do that like after action review and understand the value and take that forward. Jay had asked in the chat here, under lessons learned, like everything you had a bullet on, everything is more complex than believed. So if you could drill into that just a little bit and maybe give a little body to you know, what you mean there, whether that's a people conversation or whether that's a technology conversation.
So thank you for the question, Jay. So this sentence here, everything is more complex than believed, is regarding the process, right? So as it was mentioned, the process didn't have actually one system where it held all the data. So the data were scattered across the place, right? So in emails, in Teams, in SharePoint. So this is something that the person meant by this, that when mapping the process, it was really complex. Because usually when we think about the process, we say, okay, I just have to do this and this, and then you start to write it down, you do the process mapping, and then you see, okay, actually, these are some exceptions that we have to handle, and this is another source that we need to include here as well. So it was not regarding the technology, it was about the process.
Awesome. I'm technically in a sales unit, so I do have to say there are tools for that. We have process mining, task mining. I digress, and we're going to press on. So there was another one dropped in by Azure. You know, many times IT is hesitant to let people make their own solutions, especially with a global company. You're across geos. You have a decentralized, you know, number of OUs, BUs, departments, teams, ICs. So can you describe the relationship your group has with that hub, you know, with like central IT?
Sure. So I'll take this quick, and then Anna, I'd be interested in your feedback as well. We are actually global IT. We are the central IT part of that team, right? So what's super helpful for us is that we aren't considered federated. We're at the hub platform level. And this is a nice way that Takeda in the IT group, we call it DD&T, data, digital, and technology. The way that we are organized is to have those platforms at the heart of things, and then we start to federate out. So this was a perfect setup for business enablement, right? So the other teams that are maybe R&D IT or global manufacturing IT, which are sort of spin-offs of what we're doing, they have their own focus and they adhere to what's happening inside the platform. So that trust between us is there because we're working directly with those folks. But I would say that we're very lucky that we happen to live inside central IT.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. And actually related to this, and some of my notes off to the side, early on in the first few slides that you were voicing over, you mentioned some of those scale factors, and you dropped the term champion networks, which I really like, because that that doesn't presume a single champion that's going to be overburdened, a single point of failure, as they themselves, you're talking about federation and scale, like as they themselves are acting as that conduit for some of these needs and information and getting the right resources or the right ideas to the table. So, how did you, and could be a heavy ask. So just the high notes, but how did you go about like identifying and then energizing and activating those champions?
So from experience, what I think is really important is to let them know that they are supported, right? They know where to go for support, and also that they belong to a community, right? I mentioned the TBS, for example, right? So that is a bit different, maybe approach than the rest of the teams, but as we had UiPath before, there were all these different personas, and people could become the champions. And then they themselves could actually do the awareness session and so on. So some of those people actually became the champions in the Power Platform, right? So it was quite easy to really identify them because they have been active already. They have been making the automations in a different platform. So they have been activated in this way. And also what helped in the Takeda Business Solutions business unit was obviously the strong leadership support, but also making sure that they have kind of a community. There are different events happening, and people like to get together, right? And we have, for example, 3 hackathons planned now just for that particular business unit because they are really eager to continue building the automation, the solutions, and a really close community. So we have a Japanese community, we have a community in Poland, and so on. For the others, is usually people really reach out to us who have like problem-solving skills, data analytics skills, and so on. And they really just want to explore the technologies available for them at Takeda. And just become really interested in that and become champions, right? But also I mentioned the Digital Dexterity Program. And the Digital Dexterity Program actually, as I mentioned, is focusing on 4 different skills and mindsets, which one of them is the automation of work. And the program is created in a way that they are becoming digital dexterity champions. And what our focus is actually this year is to bridge all of these communities together and really focus on creating the path forward for all of these people, whether they are champions, total beginners, and so on. So it's for everybody, really.
Amazing. I appreciate the insight into that. And as another piggyback, hackathons took a pretty major focus in the presentation today. Fantastic catalyst to get people energized, to get people a little sweaty, hands dirty with maybe a net new Lego box, so to speak. We're not sponsored by Lego. Maybe we should look into that. But no, like just getting familiarized, going in with no fear. You've got the support, you've got the backing. Go in and play with purpose. Like let's actually do some really, really cool things in a safe environment. What's the, as you're going through those steps of getting people to these events or fielding use cases or seeing challenges, what is that hack spark? What is when you're engaging with your champions or anybody else across the networks, how and when do you decide to run something like a hackathon? Do you have just in like sort of an innate or internal knowledge of, hey, this is going to be maybe a little all over the place, so let's get people thinking in different creative ways and see what comes out of it? Is it usually something from a particular department or geo where you go, this is going to be a very good catalyst as we've seen in the past? So what is, and maybe it's not a one size fits all, but what is that hack spark going, light bulbs off, we're going to probably be looking at a hackathon coming up?
That's a great question because it was an evolution, right? We started with the trainings and then we said like, this is fine, but people, the trainings, we set them up in a way that there was a bit of theoretical part, but then we had really hands-on exercises. We wanted to teach the people, We just follow along with the instructor and so on. And then we said, okay, so I think what would be the next step is that they actually try it out on their own use cases so they can see the benefit, right? So then we switched and said like, okay, let's see if somebody would be interested in a hackathon. So we did an awareness presentation in front of one of the business units, and they were really interested in starting this and trying it out. So the hackathon, you don't only get the trainings and so on, but you at the end there is delivery, right? So there are solutions built. So that's how we started with our first two hackathons. First hackathon. But I think even before that, there was one business unit searching for training just for their teams, because we usually post the training to our hub site and people can register. So we said like, okay, we can do that, but then we told them like, okay, maybe we can do it in a hackathon style of way, and they really loved the idea. So this is how it started, and then it sort of just grew. And we got really many requests from different business units for the same. We also then said like, okay, let's try the online hackathon, because I'm based in Europe. And we wanted to say, okay, we want to really support everybody globally. So we then created the event, the online hackathon. And we have some champions, automation champions across different business units. So we basically reached out to them and pitched the idea about the hackathon, and then we started to organize it, open the registration and so on. So this is how it started. But now at this point, we have, I mentioned 3 hackathons now in July and in September. And I think a few more will be then in October as well. So it's just a snowball effect, right? So then we share the success stories and people started reaching out to us. So I think this was really great example when we really celebrate what the people have created, because they dedicated, we should not forget that they dedicated their own time to really learn a new technology and build solutions. So this is how it actually started. So from my point of view, what really excites people is, the sense of community, sharing the user stories, and seeing the art of possible.
Awesome. And I love Ashley's comment, just dropped in the chat here. Don't be afraid to suggest a hackathon either, to billboard it, to use the vernacular, the terminology. That's a very good point, Ashley. And I don't see any other questions in the chat. Anna, Ashley, anything else to throw out there in close as we kind of get to our wrap up here?
I would say if you're thinking about this, just start, right? I mean, I always say don't let perfect be the enemy of good, right? We want to make sure you get something out there, and just starting from where you are is important enough, even if you start with 5 people and then it grows. So it's always the right time would be my suggestion.
Yeah, and I totally agree, because we tried it ourselves, right? So as I mentioned, it was an evolution. So after each event, after each hackathon, we sat down with the team and had a retrospective to see like what worked, what could have been improved, and then we tried to perfect it, right? Also the training. So after each session, whether it was training or some different event, we always asked the attendees for feedback. And that really, really helped us grow and really improve all the services and the event that we provide. So really, if you don't know where to start, just do it and just start, because I think it's really rewarding at the end to see all the incredible people that you will meet and the solutions that they will build.
Incredible. I can't thank you enough, Anna, Ashley, for coming in today, spending your time to educate us, to let us learn from your successes, celebrate with you, and keep an eye toward the future. I'm sure there will be 3 more hackathons, and then 3 more hackathons, and 3 more. So we're more than happy to have you come back in and tell us a little bit more about lessons learned down that path as well. I'm going to steal the screen real quick from you, and we'll close off with a couple more announcements, or rather a couple of just a couple of touch points. They're going to yell at me if I don't mention it, but Randall and Scott, who are the true arbiters of the Power Hug, the user group, the kings of the castle, so to speak, they weren't able to be with us today, and so that's why this Joker's filling in. But Scott, Randall, we miss you guys. Chelsea as well for that Power Hug Power Trio. So they had some obligations today, couldn't make it, but I'm sure they're going to catch the recordings and follow up. As we said before, every fourth Thursday of the month, we will do one of these sessions. So we love working with our customers. Celebrate that. Take a look at it. And next month is with CVS Digital with Dwight and Christopher on change approvals in minutes, not days. We do have, I mentioned Scott, Randall, and Chelsea. If you want to link up with them directly on LinkedIn, they have the links here, and I can drop those in the chat as well. And subscribe. We have these videos. Once we have these sessions executed, we do, compress and do all the editing and not really editing, but some polishing, throw it up on the channel for everybody to go take a look at. So you can see some of the handles and some of those resources at the bottom there. Again, Takeda, Team Takeda, Ashley and Anna, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you in the audience for coming out and hanging out with us over your lunch, right before, right after. Hyper valuable session. This really paints a picture of success for people, and we can't wait to see what's next for Takeda, for you guys. And we will see everybody on next month's Power Hug. Take it easy.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.